I'm just getting back from the preview sailing on the Disney Treasure, and I am so excited to fill you in on all of the things that we loved. Being invited to a preview is always something that I look forward to, and I did not think I was going to fall in love with this ship the way that I did. So I'm so excited to have you follow along, to have you listen, and then, of course, to reach out to Goofy Getaways, your travel agency that specializes in Disney destinations. Remember that our services are complimentary, and I cannot wait to either book you myself on Disney Cruise Line or have one of my amazing travel consultants do it.
Welcome to Goofy Getaways with your hosts, Amy Blades and Amy Fisher.
Welcome to the Goofy Getaways podcast, where we are fresh off of the new Disney Treasure. I'm Amy Blades, CEO of Goofy Getaways.
And I'm Amy Fisher, and we are so excited to talk about the Disney Treasure. I was not on the ship, however, Amy Blades was, and we have our first special guest on our podcast. Who are you?
And I am Charles Blades, co-founder of Goofy Getaways and CFO.
Yeah, so Charles and Amy were just on the Disney Treasure, and they are ready to tell us everything about this ship. It looks so beautiful. Did the pictures do it justice or no?
I don't think so.
No, it's stunning. When we walked on board, that's my favorite part of a Disney, like that first initial, no matter how many times I've been on any ship. Amy, it is stunning. The color palette, you feel this sense of adventure, which is what they went for as soon as you walk on this ship. And tell me if I'm wrong, but I thought it was stunning. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. The Grand Hall is amazing. When you walk in and you just look around, and I love that it is themed different than the other ships. I know it's similar to the Wish, but one of the things like on the Disney Fantasy and the Disney Dream is the beautiful chandelier. It's different when you get on board, but it fits. It was gorgeous.
I like it a lot more than the Wish. I think the color palette
too.
Is better. I think it's pretty. It is very adventurous. They do a couple shows in the lobby kind of periodically, like when you're walking. Some of them weren't even planned, at least that I wasn't aware of. You'd walk and like the lobby was changing color, which was really, really cool.
And something new for me is that you can use your Magic Band Plus on this ship. And so it reminded you of if you were at Disney during the time when you could walk past the statues and your Magic Band
the 50th
would
anniversary.
So it kept doing that. And I would say to Charles, I'm like, hey, like my thing, I don't know why it's going off, but it's going off.
Look at the chandelier.
So I think it's trying to tell me something, but it was stunning. I mean, I honestly would have loved to we are booked to go back on, but I will tell you, this is my favorite ship. I was not a huge fan of the Wish, and I think maybe it's because of the layout being different, and I didn't know what to expect. And so with the Treasure, I kind of went in with a lower expectation, and it blew me out of the water. It's stunning.
And this layout is very similar to the Wish, correct?
I would say, it's funny. So I talked to a lot of people on board just in general. And when the Wish came out, everyone hated the layout, right? Like there was a lot of backlash, and people just don't really like change necessarily.
Shocker.
Because it's funny to me because the things people were complaining about on the Wish, they were like, oh, we love on this ship. And it's the same thing. I really liked the Wish. I really like this ship. I think the layout does have a few choke points and things that are a little bit unique. But as a whole, I think it's a great ship. It doesn't take away from how great it is.
I found myself a couple times just taking a few minutes to sit, find a spot where I could just see the Grand Hall. It just taking it all in. The statue is really cool too, because you have Aladdin and Jasmine and the magic carpet. And it's massive. Like, I feel like it had to be, but it's larger than the other shit.
That picture that you sent us of you two standing in front of it, I was shocked. I was like, I didn't think it was going to be quite that large.
It is. It is. That is different. And that's the thing. I think the treasure as a whole is just, it's different, you know, and the wishes as well. They're just different than the original four ships, which I
And
think
I
that's a good
can't
thing.
wait. Yeah, as we get into more time, I can't wait to talk about the details of the.
So, are there any other details that if somebody is going on the treasure for the first time and they're walking into the Grand Hall, is there anything that they, besides obviously the massive statue, is there anything that you're like, hey, be sure to go check this out, go look at this in the Grand Hall?
So one of the things that you'll notice on the stair, you won't notice, so I'm going to tell you on the staircase. It's hard to explain, but you'll notice that on the decor coming down the staircase, it's supposed to be waves, supposed to be water. So as you come down the staircase and then you look at the carpet, it's all water. So it's showing you leading into this massive lake, I guess, maybe, or just that it's immerging you into the adventure of the water.
Oh, that's
There's
cool.
lots of
But there are a lot
details.
of details, but that
So
was
many
one that I
details.
didn't, yeah. The artwork.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I mean, I know you're talking about the lobby right now, but
No, but
even
the
if we are, the
artwork in the
lobby
lobby,
is
there was like a
phenomenal.
peacock,
The
kind of like
mosaics.
yeah, there you go, mosaic, like tile work.
It is
Reminded me a lot of
stunning.
like the Morocco Pavilion at Epcot,
Okay.
or like yeah, it was very very cool.
And I did feel that way on the entire ship. Like,
Which was
I've
what
always
they
been,
were
I liked
going
Aladdin.
for.
Not that I didn't like Aladdin. You really do. You feel like you're in Airbnb. Like the whole, I can't explain it. The carpets, the feel, the lighting fixtures, all of it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It really yeah, it was great.
That's awesome. Okay, so we know what to look for a little bit in the Grand Hall. Obviously, it sounds like there's lots of things for people to discover there.
Yeah.
So let's talk about something that's always very important on a Disney cruise ship, and this is the kids' clubs. So we have your It's a Small World nursery. You're going to have your Oceaneer clubs. You're going to have Edge and Vibe, which are for teens. What can you tell us about these spaces on the Treasure?
They never had things like that when I was a child or when my children were that age. I think that the detail that they put into these spaces, your children, it's so imaginative and creative, and they are immersed in the storyline of whichever space that they're in. The Marvel area is incredible because you can stand in front of this big screen and it designs like Black Panther, your suit. And you can see what you would look like. There's beautiful areas, like a library area for Belle is on the one side, and then Rapunzel has this little sitting area on another. And there's places that they can play games, or they can read books, or they can obviously play video games.
One of the things
Like
that
the,
like, it's not gender specific.
no,
It's very much like covers a spectrum of what your child is into, right?
yeah,
And when I say that, like there's a whole Imagineering section where you can like design a roller coaster and do arts and crafts.
hmm
Like the little engineer kids, like that, like so many of them are going to become Imagineers from doing that. Like, that was very, very cool to me, like the science part of it. But then there is like the fairy tale, like if you want that side as well. And I thought I actually had never been in the kids clubs I didn't go on the Wish. I have on the other four ships, but I didn't go on the Wish. So
You've been on the Wish, but not in the kids'
yeah,
clubs,
so
right?
I was
The
surprised.
slide
Yeah.
going down.
Okay, did
Has
any
to
of
be
you
one of
did
the-
you go down the slide though?
So,
A
a
friend
friend that was with us did.
He took one for the team.
He did take one for the team.
Well
The hand
done.
washing stations, of course, I always think that. But I think the dance parties, just the other extra little things that they do, extra special meet and greets where characters come to the kids' clubs. They really do a lot of that. It's really like Charles said, it's all encompassing, if you will. Like I love just the way that Disney immerses the imaginative, creative side, and like you're literally stepping into it for the kids. Yeah, it's really special.
And I do think worth noting, so Edge, Vibe, cool, really great aesthetically, very fun. One of the things that I again love on the ship, we think that this should have been the Adventure, not the
Yeah.
Treasure. They should have flipped the
I
name
said that. I'm like, this is what should have been the
it
adventure.
felt very adventurous,
Yes.
but in the Vibe, there was, I don't know what they're called, but they have them in Europe. They have them in Epcot as well. But it's kind of like a bulletin board almost with like different pieces of artwork, like of different like postcards and different things on there. And I was just like, there was like this little touch that I feel like is really cool, like for teenagers. And like it was fun for me because I was like, oh, I've been there, or I've been there, or oh, like look, I haven't been to Paris yet. Like that's a place that I want to go to. And like it's that sense of, again, adventure that I think is
Belonging
great.
too. Like I think kids feel like they belong there. They can be there. And
Yeah, and everything was very inclusive. And
Mhm.
the other thing I think worth noting, and this is the same as the Wish, but the Hero Zone.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, the Hero Zone. The Hero Zone is phenomenal. I think that was a great addition. It's covered. There's my friend that I was with, like he's like, oh my gosh, I would spend so much time in here with my brothers. Like now, let
Disney
alone,
Listen.
right?
We say that like
Yeah.
they take the feedback and that's an excellent space.
Yeah. When I'm there with my brothers, I just like, I think the four of us could be up here playing foosball or basketball or, you know, all of those things.
That was a
which
great
was
ad.
really cool.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I forgot
that.
that, but that's a great ad.
So, for people who are not aware, the Hero Zone is so most cruise ships have some type of like sports court area, and the Hero Zone is that. But a lot of times, that sports courts area is outside, which means you are at the mercy of whatever weather is happening. And Disney listened, the Hero Zone is indoor, so they have basically like a space of a basketball court. They can set up volleyball nets. They do like an inflatables course sometimes on different days and things like that. They've got foosball tables and all that kind of stuff. So if you're like, hey, we want to be active, but we don't necessarily want to go in the pools, the Hero Zone is that space. So love that y'all mentioned that.
For families too.
Yeah,
That's what I like
that's why
about
I
it. It's
thought-
not age specific. I mean, your families, if you have
It kind of blends in with the kids clubs and things to me. Like it's just another one of those additions. And this sailing was a little bit, it was different because there really were not very many kids, and the ship was at 25% capacity.
She gets spoiled.
Well, yeah, but I really felt like it was missing the energy of the kids.
I would agree.
Right? Like, and I was like, as we were in those spaces, I'm like, oh, like it just this is so cool. Like, you know, I can't wait for kids to get on board and just like, explore and see it. I think they're gonna love it.
Yes. And explanation in case we haven't already said this a few times, I think on our different episodes. So Amy and Charles were on what is called a preview sailing. So this is why when they're talking about it was at 25% capacity and not a lot of children. Disney was kind enough to host us on this preview sailing for us to go check it out so that we could talk to you all about it. So that is just a little bit more about that. It is not normal for a Disney cruise ship to only be at 25% capacity.
It's an honor. It's an honor for them to invite us, and they really did a beautiful job of, I mean, everything was up and running and ready for us. And, you know, it's a good thing here. Sometimes you have to remember that they're working out quirks and just be really mindful and give a little bit of grace with that. But
no, I think as a whole, though, I mean, reviews are like we're honest
we'll
with
be
everything
honest, for sure.
And
for sure.
And not everything was complimentary on the ship too. So I feel like it gives a good balance because
100%.
We do know okay, like these are things that we should think about when you're planning. Like maybe there are some extra costs to some things. So
which we can point out too. Yeah.
Love that. All right, so we talked a little bit about the kids spaces. Is there anything special that we should know about like the pool areas, or because let's be honest, especially a Caribbean-based cruise, like people are on it to go in the pools.
So I will say, well, twofold. One, we did not have great weather. It was like 60 degrees most of the time. So the pools were honestly closed for quite a bit of the time.
A lot of wind.
One of actually, so I will say, I guess, I don't know if they're working out a kink, slight like complaint, but the hot tubs weren't hot. There was only one hot tub that was hot, actually.
And that is something that was
so like that was mentioned, and they were, you know, it was like, which you're gonna have those. So I would say the pool deck, it like you could have gotten all the space you wanted. I mean, there was nobody.
I took a couple pictures, like,
pretty.
wouldn't this be nice?
Now the aqua
Mouse.
mouse, I forget. They all blend in
And
at
it's the
this
Aqua
point.
Mouse on the Wish.
Very,
Or
very
the
cool.
Treasure Sea.
We were able to sneak up there on our last day,
And you were able to do that.
and we were able to do that. My friend and I, we have done lots of different roller coasters and different attractions, and it's a mix water ride, roller coaster. Like I said, it was cold, so we were freezing as like the
But
sprayers
this
were
is
working.
it's
But it was very cool.
interactive.
It was very cool as a whole. I think that it's something that sets Disney apart. Now again, it was not operating at 100%. So we're hoping that there were a couple like screens and things that weren't working. But it didn't take away from the experience. It's still very cool. And I mean you're on a water roller coaster on a cruise ship at sea. So it's a pretty
Yes,
cool thing.
yeah. And if you're talking about kids clubs and kind of transitioning when you think about pools, for me, the spa is a kids club for adults. And my favorite place to be, and I don't know if we want to talk about that during like that's not really a lounge, but just to note, the spa is beautiful. It's my favorite spa on any of the ships. It's stunning, and it had a really cool vibe, cool feel, and it was busy, but they were on it. I
That
mean,
area of the ship was busy.
it was, and it was,
that area was
the
busy.
staff was incredible. The rainforest room is one of my favorite things, and I hate even bringing it up because it gets so crowded. But yeah, it's my favorite way to decompress on a cruise. There's just something about the space, and I love that they have the outdoor space for the spa as well, and it's a
In the
great
rainforest
place.
room.
Yeah,
In
in the rainforest. Sorry, that's but it's,
the treatment rooms are great.
oh my
So
goodness, stunning.
yeah, I would say we've spent time on many cruise lines
Yes.
in their spa, on all of the Disney ships in the spa.
Yeah,
This is the best one.
hands down.
It's excellent. Now, it is worth noting the rainforest room was $79 a day.
Or you could pay for
I
the,
think it was $179 for 3 nights. So
yeah,
you're probably looking at a few $100s a person, I would say, for a 7-night cruise. So
and it's one of those things that we
worth
talk
noting.
about when you book with a travel consultant, right? Because you're going to talk about what your priorities are, and it's the difference between if you're an adult only or if you're a family. And what's something that I love about the kids clubs is that your parents can definitely still have an experience like that because it gives the kids something to do. But yeah, I mean, I was able to do the rainforest room actually just one day because my schedule truly was pretty packed. But it's, I would agree, my favorite spa of any of the ships.
And I think one of the great things about it is, so when the Wish first came out, a lot of people were unsure about the layout, like I said. Well, that's one of I think the benefits to the layout of it. Was originally called the Triton class. Now I think it's the Wish class technically, but this class of ships is they've kind of separated the spa and made it different areas of the ship. And so I guess what I mean by that is where the rainforest room and the treatment rooms are, they're huge, and that's really, really nice. But then on the other side of the ship, so the same side, but instead of the port side, on the starboard side, there's a great fitness area.
Yes.
And that fitness area, it was also very busy. I went up there a couple of times. Really high-end equipment. But the nice thing is, again, it's a separate entrance, so you don't have to feel like you're walking through the spa to
agree.
get to the fitness center, or
Vice versa.
Vice versa, which I think is really nice. And then I guess as we're talking about, we can kind of extrapolate and like move it out a little bit. I would say the Tangled area, the Tangled Salon,
Oh my
and then
gosh.
Hook's Barbary are also they're not even on the other original 4 ships, but they do have kind of spa or salon and Barbary, but they're up
in the
spa.
in the spa, where these are separate.
So, but again, I think it really opened that space and made the spa great as a whole. Did you do anything in the Tangled Salon?
I didn't have time, but I wanted to. It's the theming is it's adorable, but I usually love to, I mean, if it's a 7 day cruise and we've been, those showers are a little small. So I like to get my hair washed and blow dried or put up, or especially if it's a formal night. That's the service that I like to take advantage of for sure. But
Yeah, and then as we're kind of bleeding, what I will say, and maybe this will lead us into the bar conversation as well. But my favorite spot on the ship was actually Hooks. I absolutely, it was something on the Wish that I didn't get to do again with those shorter sailings. So when you're on these longer 7 night sailings, you can really explore and do some of these luxuries. And Hooks was incredible. Not only is the theming so cool, like
yeah,
who doesn't love Peter Pan, right? And Captain Hook. But when you take into account like the level of service, I did a shave and a facial, and then at night they have a speakeasy that opens up. And as somebody who loves bourbon, they have some really high-end, really nice bourbon.
yeah. And I don't like bourbon, but watching the process of them making the drinks and the aroma, the smells. I mean, I sat there for like an hour while he had his drink and love that laid back feeling and conversation. And that was a really cool, not something I would typically do, but because I was on board with, my son, I enjoyed that.
I think on our 3 night cruise, which basically amounts to 2.5 days.
Yeah.
Probably spent 4 or 5 hours in Hooks. Like that was definitely the go-to spot for me.
Liked that.
Loved it. Absolutely. And again, I think that's again one of the great things about this class of ships. And you love the spa, and I think part of the reason why you really love the spa, which I do too, but part of the reason why is because they've opened up other areas of the ship that have really helped with crowd flow from that perspective.
I would agree.
That's awesome. And so people are aware the Wish, similar size ship, does 3 and 4 night sailings. The Treasure is going to be doing 7 night sailings. So like, Charles and Amy are saying, there's this really great opportunity to spend more time really exploring and just enjoying the ship when you have a 7 night sailing. Because when you do a 3 night sailing, sometimes you're like, oh, I just got to this space and now I need to turn around and leave to go do something else.
And I think this too, well, twofold. Not like skipping way to the end, but
well, be careful.
Yeah, I think that both.
You say what you want to say, Charles. It's fine.
The nice thing is, so I think the Fantasy, it was the best ship in the fleet, and you could still argue that it is. And then I would say the same thing about the Treasure. And when you think about it, they're the only 2 ships that have been purpose-built for 7 night itineraries. So I think that, and they were the second iteration of that class of ships. And so there were a lot of times when I was like, ooh, I think that this was a slight upgrade or a slight change that was really, really nice. And selfishly, we're doing the Goofy Getaways cruise on the Fantasy in February. So we can help you with that.
Yeah, for sure.
But that I thought that several times, that I was like, okay, and it's hard to explain or give a specific example, but there are just some little details, and I'm like, this, you can tell that this was built with 7 nights in mind versus that 3 or 4 night, which is, the 3 and 4 nights are great.
It's the perfect segue to getting someone on a cruise to see if they're going to like it or not and experience the service. But I spent about an hour and a half yesterday of like the free time and went deck by deck by deck, just looking and exploring every possible option. I can't wait to talk about the bars though, and the lounges if we're ready when we transition into that, because that was incredible. I know he kind of snuck it in there with Hooks, but those spaces were incredible.
They were, absolutely.
Okay. Well, first, actually, if we're going to talk about deck by deck, let's talk about rooms and layouts of the rooms, the staterooms that are on the Disney Treasure. Again, it's going to be a similar layout if you were on the Wish to most of those. Which room type were you all in, and what can you tell us about the room?
I can't remember the category. They all blend together, but
we were in an ocean view family stateroom with a veranda. And one thing to note too is that even though the ships are different, the thing with Disney Cruise Line that sets them apart from any cruise line is the amount of space that you have in your stateroom, whether you're in an inside stateroom all the way up to a 2-bedroom
royal suite.
Royal suite. But the space and the way that they it sounds silly, but they really try to utilize this space where they know that you're families and you know that you're going to pack quite a bit. So there's so much storage space and closets. And the beds are elevated so you can put your suitcases under, which opens up more room. The theming in these rooms were just adorable. We were in an Encanto room, and it's just, you feel like I think this is what I love that with the theming that they nailed, is that with the treasure, it really was about the characters and the Disney movies. And you really feel like you are, here's the word again, but it's true, immersed. One of the lines that I like to say, and it's a Disney Cruise Line tag, but like that, where the magic meets the sea. 100%, because it is that magic of the things that you'd get at the theme park, but they just take it to a totally different level where you're able to enjoy it differently. So you've got your inside staterooms, you've got your ocean view staterooms, you have your ocean view with veranda, then you have the concierge rooms, you have the
Which we're
1
able
and
to
2
see.
bedroom
A lot of those are Lion King.
They were beautiful. The Sarabi, they were
That bathtub from the
incredible.
video of y'all in
I
that Lion
know.
King suite, I was like, I would just sit in that bathtub for 2
The whole
nights.
time.
Well, and this is something too. So they did this on the Wish as well. I was in a Tiana room on the Wish, which I'm biased. I really love that movie, so I think I liked that a little bit better.
Mhm.
But the Encanto is great as well. But my friend who was on the ship with us, it was his first time ever on a Disney cruise, and he really only started going to Disney this year. And so when we were walking around the ship, he's like, what do other cruise lines do, or like what do other companies do? Because the intellectual property, like Disney, why wouldn't they use it for everything? And Disney fans can get particular about, oh, there's too much intellectual property, or there's too much things. I guess if you don't like Disney movies, probably don't go on a Disney cruise, right?
Correct.
Like, I mean, like,
Correct.
let's just,
Yeah.
But if you like Disney stuff, it's
It can
incredible.
be as
And
much
it's
as you want, or
tasteful.
at least that's what I
It's
love
not,
about it.
It's not
Yeah.
like over the top and
Mm-mm.
gaudy. It's just tastefully done.
Yeah.
And each floor has different movies. So again, the concierge was Lion King. We were in Encanto. There
There's
were different
Pocahontas.
color schemes.
Yeah.
I didn't see them. I mean, we didn't see them all. I don't even know if it would be possible. But
Like the carpet and the coloring, as Charles said, like the color palettes are different for each movie, if you will, depending on what deck you're on and what room you're in.
so that's really cool. I think that, again, is a differentiator with Disney Cruise Line compared to
And you're
the other
not in
ones.
your room. I tell my clients a lot, you're not in your room a ton. So if you're someone that's looking to maybe upgrade one thing, or not, I want to do this, or I want to do the spa, or I want to do some fine dining, or like their inside staterooms, they shouldn't be like swept under the rug, because they're spacious, they're beautiful,
Get on the ship.
and it gets you on. Yeah, 100%.
And real quick before we move on, one of the nice things about Disney Cruise Line is they still do turn down service, so twice daily housekeeping.
Which
It's really
other
nice.
cruise lines do not do
Our
anymore.
room steward was phenomenal. And again, it was very low capacity, but
still,
as a whole,
yeah.
we saw him only like once or twice. Super friendly, but I swear he was like a ninja. He would be like
Knew our
in
names,
and
which I
out.
love.
Like it was, yeah, it was
service.
and that's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
So not only is like the IP great, but the people who are working there are also incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. Okay, so kind of a follow-up question based on this. So we know you had 3 adults in your stateroom.
Mm-hmm.
How did it feel storage-wise? And sometimes when you get on a cruise ship, so you have your main bed and then you have secondary beds. How were the secondary beds? Because some of you are obviously sleeping on those beds. So what was it like having 3 adults in one stateroom?
I think there was plenty of room.
There was a lot of space.
And
because we were in where we had a queen bed, and then we had the couch that pulled out, and then of course we had a drop down bunk bed.
But
even when those were pulled out, there was space.
Yeah, there's plenty of room, and they were comfortable. So
yeah.
I've stayed on ones on other cruise lines, and they were not comfortable. But my friend is a full-grown man, right? Like, and he's like, no, it's very comfortable. Like,
yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
No
yeah, the space, and that was 3 adults in a room, and
and an adult could fit on those secondary beds, because I think sometimes that's a concern for people, that they're like, oh my gosh, like, can you put another
He's like
adult on
five
one of
foot
those
ten,
beds.
and even like one day I was doing something, and my mom was doing something,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Hey, you could take a nap. Like you can lay on the regular bed if you want." And he's like, "No, that the pullout is comfy." Like he was
Yeah,
happy with it. So
which is good.
stamp of approval.
Okay, excellent. We like to hear that. Okay, so let's talk about we've talked about the stateroom, we've talked about like the grand halls and things like that. Let's talk a little bit about dining because everybody has to eat when they're on a cruise ship. I know y'all want to
Oh,
talk about the lounges, but hang tight because we
no,
will
the
get there.
dining too.
But let's talk about the dining. So every Disney cruise ship is going to have 3 main dining rooms. We do rotational dining on Disney cruise ships. So
Mhm.
you were on a 3-night sailing. You got to do 1 night in each of the main dining
We
rooms
did.
on the
We did.
Treasure. So let's start it off. Let's talk. So the two that are the same as the Wish are 1923 and Marvel. But what is different on the Treasure than those dining rooms on the Wish? Or is there really nothing that's much different?
It's the
1923,
same.
yeah, I think was the same. I mean, I'm sure there's some subtle artwork changes and things felt the same.
Menu is the same.
I think
I
the menu is the same.
think
I don't want to confirm 100%,
no, and
but
this is
they're the same.
one of the things I'm looking forward to going back on the Treasure. On the Wish, I really liked the meal that we had at 1923. On the Treasure, I don't want to completely I'm not going to bash it. It was their first night. We did not have a great experience at 1923, if I'm being honest, our first night. I will tell you that everything that was not right that first night, they more than made up for the other 2 nights. For me, it was just the food.
It was a miss. It was just a miss. And we talked to
Yeah,
some other people as well. But what we ended up finding out is it was their first night ever
doing
doing
two
two servers,
or
two
seatings
seatings, and work
yeah,
for our team, their first time ever working, I believe, as a team as well.
together. Yeah.
So I mean, there's gonna be, and for them to correct it in one night,
In one
they
night.
really did.
Yeah,
That's
and we
amazing.
didn't say, and we did not,
Didn't complain.
normally, right, we did not complain because you know that you're on a preview sailing, you know you're there to help them work out the quirks,
Mhm.
so we didn't even say anything and they knew. And I made sure to tell the head waiter the second night. I said, look, I just wanted to tell you that last night was a little bit frustrating and you guys more than made up for it. And she was so genuinely touched by the compliment and said, you have no idea how much, thank you so much, because I didn't get after my staff, but I let them know, look, these are the things that have to be better. And they turned it around. So I want to give 1923 a fair review. And I just don't feel like I can do that right now because I don't want people to think that it's not a good restaurant. I've had it on the other ships, but the Marvel is the same.
It's not the
though.
same,
The-
actually.
I was like,
It
it has
looks-
a little different storyline, doesn't it? Like
okay,
the
that
actual
part,
like
right.
storyline part is different.
And the storyline was to me, it was a miss. I did not like the storyline
But
as much as I did on the Wish.
remember that we did not see, there's two different
Yeah.
presentations. We did not get both of them. We got one which was kind of cute. It was with Baby Groot and it was just answering some trivia questions and kind of keeps kids interactive. You've got the oh my goodness, I can't think the name of the thing on the table that you answer the questions. And for me, it was overstimulating. It would be a night that I would probably choose to go to Palo, but I can see where kids and families, and we're a big Marvel family. We love
it's
Marvel.
cool, but
I will say the food there was my favorite food, however, of the 3 nights. I loved, man, everything that I had was delicious. This amazing like peach cobblerish type dessert.
you did a beef Wellington.
I did a beef Wellington, which was very good. And I'm trying to think the name of with the peanut sauce, the skewer.
Chicken satay
Oh
or
my
something.
goodness, it
Yeah.
was delicious. So, and then of course I'm a big caprese salad, the tomatoes and the mozzarella and that was really delicious too. I really liked the food.
Yeah, and part of it too, I I made some friends on the ship, so I was kind of in and out of that
You
meal,
were,
going
yeah.
to some other tables and things.
Mhm.
So it's probably not the most fair from my perspective.
I would agree.
Charles went and made friends? No way.
But yeah, he gets after me for, everyone I see I'm hugging. But, that's a different podcast for a different time.
But I would say the build up, the best, and I could make an argument. My favorite regular or non-specialty restaurant on Disney Cruise Line would be the Coco restaurant, Positive Coco.
Okay,
It
you
was
got to tell
incredible.
us because
Okay.
that I'm having dreams about
we
going
are
to that
saving
one.
this for yeah. Okay, Amy. The minute that you walk in through the restaurant, it is an emotional, especially if you know the show, it is an emotional journey and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
They nailed the theming. I got the opportunity to be able to meet the young man that played Miguel, as well as the writer, director, producer of the movie. And listening to that creative vision and seeing them react to what the vision was in their mind. And the young man that played Miguel said, in my mind, I knew all of these things because something I didn't know is that in voiceover, like Disney voiceover work, you record the story first, then they create what your character is going to look like, what everything, the whole scenery is going to be. So in his mind, he said it was overwhelming to walk in and literally see what was in his mind perfectly.
Oh my gosh.
And I can't explain, the colors are so vibrant. It feels like
It was just really cool.
I
It feels like it was,
cannot.
it was really cool. I mean,
It was beautiful, and I feel horrible that I can't think of the name. It's like the most important part of the movie, the memorandum, the area that's the memorandum, with the pictures and the flowers and I feel horrible. I can't think the name of it, but was beautiful.
Yeah, and that was right when you walk in, and there's a show element as well.
Oh,
Incredible. You're celebrating the Day of the Dead, and the music was great. The vocal act, like,
it was
incredible.
the
talent.
costuming.
Costumes was great. The food was great too.
Excellent.
First
Really
time Disney's tried to do an Mexican restaurant,
and it was
very,
delicious.
very good.
It was
The food was good. There were chips and guac. There was, instead of bread service, you had chips and salsa. Like, there were a lot of kind of nods to that.
Yeah.
Tamales were good. I mean,
All of it.
yeah, I think we ordered
All of
every
it.
entree that
It was.
night,
We did that night.
and it was
delicious.
really, really good.
The drinks were good.
So much, yeah. The drinks were good. Everything about it was a nearly
special.
perfect.
Yeah.
Like, when you talk about like Disney Cruise Line, like at their best, that really
Yeah.
was. That was
I mean,
the Frozen
listening
restaurant
to-
and the Wish that.
Oh, I love
compared
the
it to is
Frozen.
good as well.
It is, but this is just something
It was
different.
another level,
Maybe a
I think.
little emotional, just for really, and listening to people tell stories in that restaurant about loved ones that have passed on, and talking about how, especially for children, death is sad, in the way that this restaurant in that movie helped parents be able to talk to their children about death, and that once a year celebrating those, and it's something that you can look forward to celebrating. And it was just a beautiful performance, the story. It was so immersive. I wish that is one thing that pictures cannot do justice. We tried to send video, tried to send pictures, but it's not until you're sitting there on the ship that they knocked that way out of the ballpark. It's perfection.
It was great. Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's the winner.
Oh.
We did not try the specialty restaurants. They
No,
were not
they
open.
weren't open.
They were doing some testing, but
Yeah.
What are the specialty restaurants on the Treasure?
yeah, so there's Palo Steakhouse, which every Disney cruise ship has a palo of some sort. And then Enchanté, which is a specialty.
For the wish class ships.
Yes, and it's on par or kind of the equivalent. It's like a trying to be like a Michelin star restaurant,
Like a Remy on the
Remy
other.
or Victoria and Albert's. Very high.
There is extra costs for both of those.
But there's
Unless
no
you-
additional cost for those main dining rooms that we talked about, which
and
is
the
awesome.
thing that is different, and I've said this before, so I'm repeating it, but the thing that's different with Disney Cruise Line is that what you would get on other cruise lines, like their specialty restaurants, that is what you are getting in your main dining room. And I think there's something to be said for that rotational dining and the experience that you're taking with your servers.
Yeah, and I know we're going a little long, so I don't want to go too crazy, but also the deck food, the Festival of Foods
Good.
is fantastic. We did lunch up there. I'm not a buffet person in general, but I think Marceline Market was really nice,
very
and
good.
they serve you the food versus you like diving in and grabbing it, which I really like. That's great as well, and I think that's a big upgrade to Cabanas on the other ships.
I do too.
That's
And I
a-
think the
that's
deck food
huge.
is better on the Wish class.
It's as good as any cruise line. It's phenomenal.
Mhm. So,
Absolutely phenomenal.
yeah,
So
just don't
good.
forget to mention that, because if you're someone that doesn't want to do a sit down, and that's okay, you can definitely go to the market. You can also do breakfast and lunch. You don't just have to do that at the market. You can always do room service, or there's always one of those restaurants, 1923 Marvel or Coco, that is open for breakfast or lunch if you're someone that does want to go sit down for breakfast or lunch. So they do a really good job of kind of keeping a lot of options open for people.
And a nice note for people, if you're not aware, on Disney Cruise Line, room service 24/7 is included. You just need to pay to tip your staff. But that's the very nice part. There's sometimes like random items on the menu that would cost extra, but in general, there's lots and lots of things included. So this kind of helps segue us into, if people are not aware as well, Disney Cruise Line does not do drink packages, but that does not mean that they don't offer drinks. And they have some amazing adult lounges, and the Treasure looks like they have some super unique and very, very impressive lounge spaces. So let's talk about it. Like, tell us about these amazing lounges, y'all.
I think the one that everyone wants to know about is the Haunted Mansion.
And we promised you different opinions from my son and I, so you're going to get them on this one.
Ooh,
a little
okay.
bit. A little bit.
Yeah, no.
It was hands down my favorite, the Parlor. The theming, it was so dark. It's another thing we tried to get content to, Amy, but it is so dark in there, but you have to be there to experience it. But the wait staff, they know the storyline. They know the drinks, the presentation of the drinks. I mean, we took one for the team and ordered every drink that is available so that we can let
And a
everybody
special
know.
secret menu.
And a
that
special
Amy
secret
had told us
menu.
about. So
Yes.
thank you, Amy.
Yes. We did miss our Amy on this sailing. We tried. She was with us, like, in text the entire time,
you
but,
both the whole time.
but we did miss you very much. I mean, something to be noted is that you do travel with each of us separately. I mean, sometimes together, but you're such an integral part of it, even though you weren't on board. But you were missed. But the theming of this and just the decor, that's where I would want to go and just take some time to sit and just people watch, I think. And I think Charles will speak for it himself. And I do understand why that wasn't his, not that you didn't like it, wasn't his favorite. It is very crowded. And I do hope that Disney figures this out, because you wait in line to get in, which is fine, but the amount of people and how crowded and claustrophobic that you felt, like we got a place to sit, which was really nice, but then they allow people just to continue to come in. And I think they need to take a look at what they do for Trader Sam's and figure something out with alternating a reservation.
Virtual queue.
Yeah, and I understand that this is, we're in the first preview sailings, but this is kind of the thing that happened in the the Hyperspace Lounge on the Wish. I think it's a phenomenal space, but they do need to figure out the crowding. It was overcrowded, but the theming and the drinks, It
So
was
the
awesome.
theming was good. I think so. As you mentioned, Hyperspace Lounge. I thought the drinks were better for me at Hyperspace Lounge.
Yep, you did
I
like that
preferred
better.
Hyperspace Lounge for the drinks, but the decor was really cool
Mm-hmm.
on the Haunted
Mm-hmm.
Mansion bar, and they're gonna figure out they're gonna make changes
Yeah,
and
they will.
Yeah.
tweaks.
Yeah.
Well, and again, it'll be
Yeah.
a 7-night sailing, right? So versus
Yeah,
this, you guys were on a
they're gonna
3-night
get it
sailing
figured
and
out.
everybody. Okay, let's also be real about when it's a preview sailing. It's going to be influencers and travel agents that are on
All
these
of
ships.
it.
They
That
are
are
there
there
to
to see
get,
it.
they're all adults and they're all there to get content. So the truth of the matter is, where are they flocking? They're flocking to the spaces that are brand new.
Mm-hmm.
So no, they're not going to spend a ton of time in the hero zone because they've already seen some of that on the Wish. They're going to go spend a whole bunch of time in the Haunted Mansion. So, I think on a 7-night sailing for most people, they are like Disney will figure it out. I've heard rumors that they're talking about putting like a time limit for people, like within like a
Supposedly
certain
there was, and only
like
2 drinks, 45 minutes and 2 drinks. That's what they had said, but it wasn't super enforced.
I
So
think they
I
wanted
think
everyone to
they
see
wanted people to
it.
see it. It was
Yeah.
it's absolutely worth doing.
Yeah.
And then
the-
across go ahead.
I got the opportunity to meet the woman who worked with Walt Disney on creating the Haunted Mansion ride at Disneyland, and it's her, her face that's in the ball, and listening to her talk about the Haunted Mansion and what they wanted it to be, what they developed, and how they originally they called it the Haunted House, not the Haunted Mansion. But listening to her then say when she walked in there and saw that for the first time, kind of similar to with the Coco. Yeah, it's really cool. It's special. They did a really good job. Just had to figure out the
So
space.
I would say that was the big one. Some of the other
Mhm.
bars and lounges will just kind of highlight the Skipper.
Yeah,
We literally looked it
really
up.
cute.
The Skipper social Skipper. Oh my gosh, we
Skipper
looked it up,
Social Club, I think.
Yeah,
something like
that.
this. Oh my gosh, very cool, very well themed.
Cute little
If you like
vibe.
Jungle Cruise,
it's an open.
really great.
Open.
Now, for me, outside of Hooks, which is kind of its specialty bar, it's a speakeasy. My favorite bar on board was actually the Scat Cat.
Scat Cat. I knew that's what you were gonna say. Yeah,
Phenomenal.
from the Aristocrats.
Loved
Yeah,
it, and they had
Aristocrats.
opened it up so you could kind of view it. So the bar was overlooking, so you could see into the lobby, so you could people watch, you could listen to music. The door handles when you're going into the bar were trumpets. So that was
The
like
grand piano
super
when you
cute.
walk in.
Yeah. And those were my favorite drinks. They were expensive, but they were good drinks. So that one is a hidden gem. We also did the Periscope.
Yep.
That's the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
The aesthetics are really cool,
Didn't
but I
get
think
a
it's a
ton
little
of time
bit
in there because it
crowded.
was.
It's a sports pub.
Yeah.
And they
Okay.
changed the layout of it. When I first walked in, I'm like, oh, this is so cool. I think I like the layout a little bit more of the equivalent bar on the Wish. I don't know. It was a little bit, but I'm willing to try it again. It could have just been the sailing that we were on.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's technically a bar, but Sarabi's, which
Oh.
is
Where like your
flex
nighttime
space.
thing, or like the family trivia, and
That's
Your
like that
maid.
2-story lounge,
oh,
right?
yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
that was it was beautiful. And then it was kind of a club. I say club like it's Disney. But it was like it was a little bit of a club last night, so that was a lot of fun. I think it was up until 1 a.m. So 1 or
What was
2.
the bar with?
And they do like
picture
trivia
you want
and
to
some of that
sit
kind of stuff
home.
in there too, right?
They do that, and then there's a flex space called Triton's Lounge where they do that as well. We did some
Yeah.
brain teasers there.
Yes.
Again, one of the things I really like about this class of ship is there's a hey bar, and then there's like what was the little cricket from
Jiminy
Mulan.
Cricket.
No, from Mulan. From Mulan.
Oh, from
Mulan.
Mulan. Oh, I don't. Does
I
he have
don't
a
Trivia
name?
question.
I don't remember. But
We
there
got to
was
brush up on our trivia before
Yeah,
the fantasy
apparently.
cruise.
Yes.
Just FYI.
But there was it was a coffee shop and a bar. Like those were really great spaces right outside of the lobby, and that's typically where I went in the morning. I got an espresso, and then
Yeah.
I think kind of the last bar would be the Cove Bar,
Which
Cove
is
Bar,
always
Cove
nice.
Cafe, which is in the adult only section. Again,
Nice quiet space at that.
yeah,
time.
really pretty. It's hidden.
which
And
I
it
like.
was Moana themed,
Hmm.
which there was a lot of Moana touches on the ship because we haven't even gotten to the entertainment.
No,
Um,
no. Less, few snarky things here and there about people that didn't like the location of it. I loved it. It's definitely private. It's a place that's a little more secluded. You're gonna have to, make an effort to get, not like it's horribly out of the way, but be diligent in what you're trying to find. But yeah, I liked the Cove Bar. It's always one of the places I like to just go, and especially when you're on events like this and you have special friends and people that you've met over the years and other agency owners. It's a great place to sit and talk and catch up.
yeah. So overall, huge thumbs up for the bars on board.
They did an excellent job.
Again, I think Haunted Mansion's great. They'll work some of those things out. But again, the Scat Cat Club was like so much fun. Loved it.
And
it was great.
that's a piano bar, right?
Piano bar,
Mhm.
yeah.
Awesome.
And there was some piano, but it's not like a dueling piano like Jelly Rolls necessarily. It's just nice. It's relaxing.
Okay, so kind of leading us into the last thing before we go to Amy's All In is let's talk a little bit about the entertainment on the ship. So you both mentioned how much you enjoyed A Tale of Moana. So on every Disney cruise ship, they're going to have like special shows and things like that. So tell us about Tale of Moana
it's the
and
best.
why do we need to watch it?
It's the best show I've seen on Disney Cruise Line, and I would say the closest to Broadway quality.
And that's saying something because I think that Disney nails the entertainment. That's one of the reasons that I like to go on a Disney ship. I mean, there's others, but I love the entertainment portion and I love seeing the shows.
And
I
I
couldn't
don't
stop. No,
necessarily.
and
I
Charles
don't.
does not.
I like other cruise
And
lines.
so he was, really good about this one because it was a new one that we hadn't seen. And I probably said 20 times for me, it was a wow moment. I mean, I would like under my breath look at him and say, wow, it was unlike anything I've seen on stage.
Yeah.
I don't want to
mapping,
give them, I mean, but just some of the puppetry and the transition, the talent, Moana, the woman that played Moana and the grandmother, the talent was incredible, but the sound quality, the costuming, the show, just it was phenomenal. And I'm so glad we saw it the first time you could see it. And we were in line for a couple other like picture opportunities afterwards. And there were a couple people that were trying to debate whether they wanted to go see the show or stay in line for these special like pictures. And I said to them, look, you have got to go see this show. And I told numerous people, I have people that actually sought me out yesterday to say to me, I wanted to tell you, like, I've been looking for you. Thank you for telling us to go see this show. It's the best thing that we've ever seen on at sea, Broadway at sea, if you will, Disney at sea.
And I will say the other show is Beauty and the Beast, which originally had premiered on the Dream.
Yes, but they've reimagined.
I would say it was my favorite Broadway show on Disney Cruise Line, and it's still great. But Moana was just so
for sure. But when you talk about like the transition of when the beast becomes human, and it is just stunning. It was beautiful.
No.
And that's another thing, we could not take pictures. I really wanted to try to get some pictures just to give you some sort of glimpse, but it's immersive and interactive too, and it was stunning.
It was.
Don't miss that show. Thank you so much for telling us about the treasure. I guess I want to know from you each, out of all of like the Disney cruise ships, and because you've both been on either all of them or almost all of them, so we want to know like how would you rank the Disney treasure, like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like I want to live on this ship, it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen, and 1 being like you couldn't pay me to go back on this ship. Where are you going to rank the Disney treasure?
You want to go or do you want me to?
Go ahead.
So yeah, I've done them all. I would say an 8.5 or 9. I think it's very good. It's probably my favorite in the fleet now. And it might be my favorite cruise ship, period. It was really great. Are there some changes that it would be hard to be perfect 10.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some changes that I would like to make. But as a whole, I think it's the best ship. And like I said, it's kind of like where the fantasy was purpose-built for those 7-night itineraries. they really, really did an excellent job.
And I've been on every ship now other than the Fantasy, which we are going to do in February. The Magic has been my favorite ship up until I would give the Treasure a 9.5. And it is my favorite ship, absolutely. And I think I was kind of, because obviously Charles and I talked. I mean, we were together for the sailing, but we intentionally didn't talk about things that we knew we were going to talk about here because I want it to be like authentic too. And I really thought we were going to have a little bit more of two totally different, which you would normally get, two totally different views. And I think that speaks for itself that we are both in agreement on this with this ship.
Well, I would say too, we had completely different cruises. I mean, we ate dinner together.
Yes.
But we really weren't together the whole time.
No.
And we did completely different things. I did things I really like. You did things you really like.
Yeah.
And we both came out to the same conclusion.
Yeah,
so again,
that's fair.
I love the prior to this. I do think the Wish was my favorite. I really do like the Wish class of ships. So I thought it was I really thought that it was wonderful, and I
love that.
Good. It was good.
Okay, so the rest of us need to get on the Treasure because it officially first sailing is at the end of December for guests. We're obviously already booking guests into 2026. Like this is amazing. So super, super fun. Disney Cruise Line actually just announced that sailings from, June 15th, I think, of 2025 through May 31st of 2026. There's a number of different sailings that get 50% off your initial deposit. So, like, if you're thinking about getting on the Treasure, now is a great time to help lock in your sailing for a really good initial deposit rate.
It doesn't get
that's
cheaper.
Amazing.
And it doesn't get cheaper. The prices are now. And so, and I thought a lot about this, Amy, too. And I'm going to offer, this is not going to be on our social media platforms. This is only going to be because you've heard it here on the podcast. And I am at Goofy Getaways is going to offer, if you book a sailing on the Treasure, that you have to have, I'm very sorry. If you book a sailing on the Treasure, it has to be booked before January 31st. So we're giving you a little over a month to book a Treasure. If you book an inside stateroom, we will give a $50 onboard credit as a thank you. If you book an ocean view stateroom, we will do $75 stateroom credit. And if you book a veranda, we will do $100 onboard credit. If you book concierge, we'll do $150 onboard credit. And that is for booking with Goofy Getaways. This is not from Disney. It is with Goofy Getaways, but we want you on the Treasure. So we are going to offer for a limited time, and your key to getting this onboard credit is going to be Goofy Getaways wants you to meet the magic at the sea, meet magic at sea, bringing magic to the sea. So that's what we need for you to
We
say.
love this. So you have heard it exclusively here on the Goofy Getaways podcast. You're going to need to mention this to your Goofy Getaways travel consultant when you book with them that, hey, I heard about this onboard incentive on the podcast, so that we know that you've listened to this podcast episode. And as long as you book with your Goofy Getaways travel consultant on the Treasure by January 31st, 2025, you're going to get those onboard credits. That is such a great deal. So thank you so much, Amy and Charles, for that amazing, amazing perk, because that just tells us all how much you really want people to be on this beautiful, beautiful new ship.
And typically where I will do things for 3-night sailings, because I want to get guests on if they've never been, this ship you need to be on for the 7-night to enjoy it. So
I love it. Okay, so
right.
we need to head into our Amy's All In. Amy's All In, this is where we have something that we are all in about. And Charles, you also get to do this. Don't worry. You're like an honorary Amy
Lucky
today.
me.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we are going to share something that you're all in about on Disney Cruise Line. So it might be something specific to the Treasure, or it might be something that's more specific to overall just any of the Disney cruise ships that you're like, every time I'm on a Disney cruise, this is a must do for me. This is an absolute, like, I'm all in about this. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Who wants to go first on the Amy's All In?
Sure.
I loved hooks. Like I said, I'm all in on hooks. I love the speakeasy concept. They do special classes.
Mhm.
Loved the facial, loved the shave, hooks for sure.
Mhm.
Love the spot on the ship, people walking by, but it's kind of hidden. It's nice.
Mhm.
Love that.
Okay.
Yeah, and my Amy's all in. If I have to pick one, and I sometimes cheat and do more than that, so I'm going to follow the rules today. One thing, and I'm going to make it about Disney Cruise Line, is the entertainment. You have to see the shows. I would say the Moana show would be my all in, but if we're talking about the cruise line in general, that is one of the things that stands out to me and one of my most favorite things on the ship. So I'm all in on the entertainment. It's phenomenal.
What
I
about you,
love
Amy?
it. Okay, so my all in is going to be Palo Brunch. I am
Yeah,
upset.
that doesn't
Like,
surprise
word
I
of
was
warning,
upset we didn't get to do it this time.
Yeah.
word of warning to everyone: this is an additional cost. This part is not included with the cost
Yeah.
of your cruise. But brunch is, in my opinion, very reasonably priced. The food is just so good. Every time I'm on a Disney cruise, I don't care how long the sailing is, I have to make time for Apollo brunch somewhere in my cruise. So that's my Disney Cruise Line all in. So I love it. Okay. Anything else that you all need to tell us about the Disney treasure?
Sail, do it.
Yeah, I do. I think sail. I think just kind of with the
You'll love it.
craziness of life, and we love the parks, but there's something so spectacular about being in the middle of the ocean with Disney. So get on board. Book with Goofy Getaways. Always remember that it's a complimentary service that we offer. You of course can get all of our information at our website, www.goofygetaways.com. You can also email info@goofygetaways.com, and of course you can see our Instagram as well as our Facebook. Reach out to us because we want to match you with the perfect consultants to let you experience what we just experienced. It was incredible.
Yes, we want to help you with your magical vacation,
Yeah.
and we want to give you tips and tricks. So please continue to listen to the podcast. Please let us know, what did you like? What didn't you like? If you have questions about the treasure, please feel free to drop those questions for us. We'll obviously stay in touch with Amy and Charles, and we can make sure that we answer those questions either on another podcast episode down the line, or we'll just reply to your questions right online as well. But please continue to stay tuned. Next episode, we are going to have another special guest, and we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics. If you cannot see behind me, I have a few Run Disney medals, but we are going to have a little conversation with one of our other travel consultants, Nadia. She's also our director of marketing, and we're going to talk about Run Disney and just some of the fun, magical things with that. Amy, Charles, and I have all done Run Disney. So be sure to stay tuned, like, save, and share this podcast.
Yeah. Thank you to Charles for joining us. So we'd like to have you again. And thanks to everyone. We look forward to helping you plan whatever magical vacation that it is that you're looking for. Thanks for following along with the podcast. We're new at it. I feel like we're getting a little bit better and better. It's really just us being very authentic and very real. That's what you're going to get here. So as always, we like to say that we will see ya
real soon.
If you liked today's episode of the Goofy Getaways podcast, please like, share, and subscribe. And remember to follow Goofy Getaways on social media so we can lead you to the magic.